This video I'm talking to the guys. Dog, how do you know that you're with the right woman? I mean, you're gonna change ultimately, she's gonna change ultimately, so how do you know if you're with the right woman to marry? First things first, obviously, I gotta just tell you what worked for me. As you can see, she just got married, so I'll tell you a bit about it. First things first is we clicked right off the bat. But here's the thing is you either click in one of two ways, at least it's what it seems like. You're either clicking because you want to chase some tail and get some tail, or you're clicking because you want a long-lasting relationship. But whether it's short or long-term, intentions, this video is not about the emotional side, like the shit that gets you riled up. It's more of the tactical things. Let me explain. Think about the first time you met your girl. I mean, you're probably looking at her big, beautiful eyes, right? Because you wouldn't be judging off of other features, but even if you were, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that there's more important things to consider when you're thinking about a long-term relationship, getting married to a woman. I mean, think about the shit that matters when things go wrong, when you're in a heated argument. You have some intense things to talk about. Maybe when you have kids one day, the boobs, the butt, the hair, whatever it is, doesn't really matter as much as, well, these two things. The values and goals, my friend. Values for when shit gets tough, because at some point it will. Goals to set your aim high and far. Think about it. If your values are off, when shit gets tough and your values are off, it means that you guys are going to be eating each other alive because I believe in this thing and you believe in this thing, right? That's how ugly divorces happen. Ain't nobody want that. If you've dealt with divorced parents, you know how brutal it feels. Values are extremely important to get through the hard times, but also let's not forget about the good times. That's what the goals are all about. As you know though, even if I set my course towards this direction, my woman sets her course towards this direction, or even just the slightest bit off, a couple of degrees towards a different direction, our ships, our intentions, everything that we are is going to ultimately split up. Values and goals. You got to set them, be clear with them, start discussing them. It's one of the first things that Megan and I did. I'll give you some values and goals to consider. A few values that Megan and I believe in were actually inspired by my granddad, who used to say, forget love. You gotta trust and respect each other. And I really vibed with that. I really appreciated that type of advice, because love is gonna come and go, right? Well, in the way like you're gonna feel lovey-dovey one day and the next day you're gonna wanna strangle each other. But if you can trust each other, respect each other, well, those are strong values to consider, because you're gonna trust each other to get through those hard times. You're gonna respect each other to listen and maybe even communicate well enough to get through those hard times. That's really one of the values that Megan and I have is, yes, trust, yes, respect, but also we know that communication, and what we say is excellent communication, will lead to greater trust, because we can be vulnerable with each other. It's going to lead to greater respect, because when we're vulnerable with one another, we respect that person so much more. I mean, think about the last time you had a really deep conversation with your woman. Maybe a good way to start a deep conversation is to talk about some goals that you guys have. For example, goals that Megan and I have. We have goals both inside and outside of our household. We both run our own businesses, and the way that we go about it is I'll say this, we're not going about it in a way where we want to be the next Elon Musk, working every hour of the day, seemingly going through many different marriages and just letting those marriages go by the wayside where his business seems to be his number one focus. I mean, hey, to each their own. I'm not dissing that. It's just not what we want. And so goals-wise, we have very clear goals in regards to the impact that we want to have inside of our house. How do we treat our family? How does Megan and I treat each other? And when we have kids, how are we treating those kids? We have family over. How are we treating those family members? Do we need to put up walls from some of those family members? What types of goals do we have? I'm just so surprised that people don't talk about this more often. Like when homies talk, like when guys talk to each other, rarely do we get into these deep topics, and they ain't teaching this in school. Maybe you get a little tip from your dad at some point to be like, oh, watch out for this, or hey, go after that, or your mom to be, to give you a suggestion on, oh, that girl's lovely and all, but don't do it, or she's nice, but you can do better, or whatever the case might be. May or may not have heard that one in the past. Definitely not with Megan. here's the thing. Get deep. Talk about values, because that's going to get you through the hard times. Talk about goals, because it's going to set you towards the right path. It's going to allow you to understand that you truly are with that life partner, that person that you're going to hold on to, even if you don't really feel like holding on to them. Going to get their shit together, talk through things, hopefully trust, respect each other, and have excellent communication too. Hopefully that starts a couple of ideas for you. And here's the thing, like, I wish I could grab some of my buddies, and I have done this in the past, and it's really helped them. That's why I felt inclined to do this video where, dude, gain control. Gain control of who you really want to be with. If you know that you really shouldn't be with that person, don't be with them. If you know that their values are elsewhere, their goals are in a slightly different, if not very different direction than your goals, fucking break it off. If you're wondering, if you're questioning, talk about them. Talk about that shit. You'd be surprised. That might just lead to a stronger relationship with that woman, or it might lead to you guys going a separate way. And hey, if that's the case, that's all right. There are a lot of fish in the sea. It's worth it. It's worth it, because again, I think relationships are, man, they can make or break not just your life, but what about your kids' lives? And yeah, hopefully this helps. If it does, let me know by hitting like, comment, that'll jam. But yeah, get control, man. Values, goals. Get clear. The clearer you are, more confident you'll be in that relationship, or not having that relationship. Now that I think about it, there's one more thing I want to talk to you about, and it's that Megan and I sure as shit don't have it all figured out, and your woman does not have to have it all figured out, because I bet that you won't even have it all figured out. Not at all. So here's the thing. Give each other a little bit of grace. When you do understand the values and the goals, give each other a little bit of patience. And I know when it comes to making that next step, you don't have to propose or get married to the person that you ultimately want to be with, meaning result-wise, they're the perfect woman, the perfect wife, the perfect person that you've always dreamed of. I don't think you have to do it that way. What's probably more important is to consider the person that they are becoming. Don't just propose and get married to the person who they are today. Propose and get married to the person who they are proving themselves that they are becoming, who they are proving themselves to be ultimately. I think that's a great way to look at your lady and just understand that, hey man, it doesn't all have to be perfectly aligned. It doesn't all have to be exactly what you thought it might be, but make sure that there is progress, that there is momentum and a proven momentum to getting there by looking at the actions and the things that you guys have been doing together. And if you're not there yet, hey, keep working on it. Have those deep combos. And if you are there and you're actually looking to get the old engagement ring, that is a hot topic. And actually, I just talked about it in a different video where I was back home, just giving my full brutal honesty in regards to buying an engagement ring. So if that is you, congratulations. So that's obviously the next step, right? Is to find that right engagement ring, and not just for her, is also the right engagement ring for you. You don't want something that's going to break the bank, but you do want to find something that she's absolutely going to love. So if you have found that right person who shares the same values as you and the same goals, I'm so pumped for you. And definitely take a look at this video. I think it's just going to serve you well. Definitely helped me throughout the process, just understand certain tips from certain people, also learning things along the way from myself. Check it out right here, and I'll see you there.